Hi boys and girls, I'm Mrs. Green and I'm here today to show you how to make a really great Christmas or holiday project that you can give to friends or your family. And I really hope you'll like this one. I think you will. It's a lot of fun. So we're going to start with some air dry clay. Your teacher will have gotten this for you and she should have helped you roll it out, or if she's given you the opportunity to do that, then you want to use a nice rolling pin like I have here, and you want to carefully roll out your ball of clay, and you want to make sure that you don't get it too thin. So mine's probably a little less than 1/4 of an inch, but that's a nice thickness. You don't want it to be too thin or too thick. So I'm going to carefully roll it out. If you're not sure, ask your teacher to help you. You'll need to use something like this. This is called parchment paper, and your teacher should have some for you so that the clay doesn't stick to the table. It's a bummer when you cut something out and you can't get it off the table, so make sure you have something underneath it. All right, now we're going to make this really cool ball. And it's really simple. It starts with a basic circle. And so I used this big old giant lid that I can use as like a cookie cutter. But you might not have that, so what your teacher will give you is a template, which will be a circle and a nice thick piece of paper, and you'll want to carefully cut that out, lay it on top of your clay, and then with a plastic knife, gently or carefully cut it out. But before you do that, you want to have an idea of where the circle is going to be. So I laid mine over the top. With yours, you could lay this on, you lay the paper one on top and then just put little marks around, not all the way, but spread them out a little bit and put marks around the edge, and that'll give you an idea where they are with like a pencil. Not real thick marks, just real gentle taps. Okay, so I have my circle marked, and the next thing I want to do is decorate it. And what's great about air dry clay is you don't have to paint it if you don't want to. You can use plain old everyday ink stamp pads and really cool stamps. There's tons of them out there, so hopefully your teacher will have a selection. I have even a little Christmas tree, isn't that great? So those are little fun ones that I can use. But today I decided to do mine in a snowflake pattern. So I have different snowflakes, and let me show you how this works. I've done most of them, but I'll do a few to show you. So what you want to do is take your stamp, whichever one you're choosing to use, and you want to put it in the ink, and you want to press down with your finger a little bit. And you just want to make sure that there's enough ink all the way around. I guess I need a little more here. You don't need a whole lot, but you do need to make sure that the impression is well inked on the one side. And then you want to come over to your spot and carefully press. Now I used some big ones first to try to do the four spots. And then if you need to, you just take your finger once you've pressed it in here, and you can rub out any extra ink or any extra marks. So I made it kind of a different mark. So I'm going to go back to one of these. That's the first time I've used it, so it's interesting to see what it would do. So I'm going to come over here, ink it up again, and I can just press right here. And carefully with your finger, if you can, lift it out. There you go. So there you have a really cool stamp, and I can come over here and maybe do one more. Okay. You don't have to do it exactly like mine. You can do it any way you want. You can just fill up the center. You can fill the edges up. What I don't recommend is you just decide to put them all over the place. You really need to have a thought about how you want it to look. So before you start stamping away, think about what you want it to look like. So this is just one idea that you could use. Then there's other things. I mean, your teacher could have a number of things. She could have something that has like Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays that you could be putting in the center if you wish. But so take a look at what your teacher might have for you to use. You can also use buttons. You can use the caps. The caps to certain like glue bottles and things. They have really interesting star designs. So you look around and see what you can find that you might be able to use to make an impression. These are some really fun ones that I picked up off of Etsy, which is a place that people make these, and I could buy them from them. So there's lots of things that you can use. All right, so I've got my circle finished, and so I'm just going to use, since I'm using this as my cookie cutter kind of, I'm going to just cut it down like I would. You could probably even find a big circle cookie cutter. That might work too. And then gently peel off the extra clay. Okay, just like that. Now you might have some rough edges like mine did. So if you look right here, you can see some rough edges. So I'm just going to take my finger and very gently, and I don't want to get my finger wet, I want to leave it dry because water and clay don't mix very well. You'll end up with soup. So don't add water to this, but just carefully keep taking your finger and rubbing it to get a nice smooth edge. And it will become smooth, especially if it's not too dry. And if little pieces fall off, that's fine. It's not going to hurt it. Oops. So you want to try to smooth the edge because you want a nice finished edge to your bowl. You don't want it to have all these little pieces sticking up. All right. Okay, and once you have done that, then you want to get either a styrofoam or a paper plate. Not a plastic bowl because the clay will stick to it. On the bottom of your plate, grab a Sharpie marker from your teacher and write your name or just put your initials, it doesn't matter. You're not going to do anything on this till the very end when it's all dry. Then you'll put your name on the back of it. So I've got it pretty well, like I want it. And then I'm just going to come over here and put the circle on top. Now you notice it doesn't fall in right away. I have to carefully, with the flats of my fingers, start gently pressing, and I'm not smashing it in. If you do, what's going to happen is what you're seeing here. These edges are going to crinkle in and might wrinkle up on each other. So I'm trying to be very careful. It doesn't have to go all the way to the bottom. You just need it to get that round shape. And I'm noticing a little bit that this is a little bit off. So before I go any further, I'm going to pick it up and move it again and recenter it. So if you need to do that, that's perfectly okay. And again, taking my fingers, I'm hoping you can see this, I'm just trying to very gently press it down. And if the edges pop up, I just press it back down. So I'm even trying to do this a little bit so I don't have these wrinkles. Okay, so down carefully I go. And you may be able to come, if you can't get all the way down at first, that's fine. Leave it where as far as you can get it and then come back and try it again. So if you notice, I'm just taking my fingers and I'm going around the edge, and I bent my finger because I'm trying not to leave, which I just did, marks in it with my fingernails. So if you have fingernails, clay and fingernails sometimes don't work. So I'm coming around and trying to smooth that over. And I might have, under here is my bag of tricks, there it is, a little spatula that I could use. This is also might help. Even a rubber spatula that you use for cooking will work, as long as you wash it up. Okay, so I'm trying to keep going so I don't keep making a mess out of it. All right. And then just keep rubbing until it goes all the way down in. And you want to press the sides so it forms to the bowl. So what you're doing is making this form to the shape of the bowl that you're holding in your hand. And that's really it. And you want to leave it sit there. And I need to come back and fix this. So you see I've got a little tiny hole here. So I'm going to try to fix that. I've also found that if you have a nice clean eraser on the end of your pencil that you haven't used yet, that you will need to go ahead and that you can also use. And I notice I just put a hole through this, so I'm going to try to come back under here and fix it. So if you do that, just do what I'm doing now. Pick it up, pat it together. It will come together. Okay? And you will seal it up again. It's okay. The clay will come right back together. It will stick. So if you and you want to do this before it gets too big. So if you get too big of a hole, it's not going to fit. So I'm coming back to fix it. Okay. And there you go. So I'll come back and I'm going to stop here for now, but I will eventually, I'll go back in and keep working on this until I don't have any more marks or holes. All right. So you want to make sure you don't get holes. This is the first time I've gotten one, so I have to work on it. So that's what I want you to do. And then you're just going to leave it alone, and you're not going to take it out of the bowl until it is hardened. So you want to leave it overnight. And then when it's hardened enough, you can take it out and flip it over and let it dry on the other side, because the bottom side will not be dry. When it is completely and 100% dry, get yourself a Sharpie marker, write your name on the bottom, and then your teacher will spray it with clear paint so that it'll last forever and you won't ruin it. Okay, this is not something you can put in the dishwasher, so it's not to put your cereal in, it's not for your ice cream, you can't put food in this, but you can put anything that's hard or dry, like jewelry could go in this, or little knickknacks you find, little shells. It's a great little thing to use, but not for food. Okay, all right, have fun. I can't wait to see your projects. Bye.